Welcome back to Film Snob HQ. The road to Avengers Doomsday draws nearer and nearer to the end. We are now at the year 2025. We started in 1986. It's been almost a full 40 years of Marvel films. Granted, not much happened between 1986 and the early 90s, but that's fine. We are heading into the final few MCU films. There's mostly TV shows to go now, but there are a couple of movies left. 2025, I think, was mostly a pretty good year for Marvel. There was one really excellent film that I adored, which we're coming up to shortly. There was one that a lot of people liked that I thought was pretty good, and there was one that people didn't like so much, but I thought was pretty good as well. And I am, of course, talking about the first of the pretty good films, which is Captain America: Brave New World, the first film starring Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson as the new Captain America. Harrison Ford takes over as Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, now the President of the US. We have Joaquin Torres as the new Falcon. We've got Giancarlo Esposito as the head of the Serpent Society. We've got not Thomas Hayden Church, the other guy with three names who I've forgotten, but Samuel Stearns returns as the leader. He was previously in Incredible Hulk, almost 20 years prior. And therein lies the rub of it all. I think it's a really great movie. I think there's a lot to love about this. We've got some wonderful returning characters from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Isaiah Bradley's back. Joaquin Torres is back, as I mentioned. We've got some returning Avengers, and Bucky makes an appearance at one point. And then, of course, we've got all the Hulk characters. The thing that I think most people got stuck with on this is it a Captain America film or is it a Hulk film? I think that's the hardest pill to swallow for people here. As a Captain America film, it functions quite well up until a certain point, and then it shifts gears entirely and becomes a sequel to The Incredible Hulk, which, hey, we've wanted that for 20 years. We've wanted more of that universe. Abominations popped up from time to time. There's been no Samuel Stearns. There's been limited Ross. He was in Civil War. He was in... Oh my God, my brain's blanking. But he's been in a couple of films, never mind the fact that I can't remember which ones. But no Stearns. There's definitely some threads left untied. We hadn't seen Liv Tyler's character, Betty Ross, return. Spoiler alert, she is back in this. She gets a credit in it, but she's only in it for about 3 minutes. But I think this flick mostly struggles walking the line between what it is and what it wants to be. It's telling us it's a Captain America film, and for the first half, I think it definitely functions. That there's definitely plenty of espionage reminiscent of the Winter Soldier. Sam Wilson is thrust into a new era. There's a new president. Thunderbolt Ross is now president, and he wants to address the Celestial that came up through the crust of the earth in Eternals. Arishem, was it Arishem? One of the Eternals. Their hand has broken through, and it turns out that the Eternal's body is made of adamantium. If you've heard that word before, you probably remember it from the X-Men films, because adamantium is what Wolverine's skeleton is covered in. So they want to harvest adamantium. They're saying they want to share it, but really they want to keep it for themselves. And Sam is kind of thrust in the middle, trying to uncover all sorts of conspiracies. He goes to a presidential dinner. There's a big speech about the announcement of the adamantium and how they're going to work together. And in the midst of it all, there's an assassination attempt against the president's life by Isaiah Bradley, the forgotten Captain America from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Turns out he was being brainwashed. We're not quite sure by who. However, there's a big clue in it all, because the song that is used to brainwash him and many others uses the phrase, "I'm Mr. Blue." If you remember the Incredible Hulk film, Samuel Stearns referred to himself as Mr. Blue, whilst Bruce Banner was Mr. Green. So there's your clue there. So for the first two acts of it, it's definitely a Captain America film for the most part. But once Samuel Stearns is revealed, it definitely shifts gears. It turns out that the heart medication that President Ross has been on is loaded up with gamma radiation, and slowly over the last few years, Stearns has been turning Ross into a Hulk, unbeknownst to him or anyone else. And therein comes our third act, where Captain America fights the Red Hulk, which, I'll be honest, is very cool to watch. And he was in all the marketing. I kind of wish they hadn't put it in the marketing. The posters were cool, obviously, seeing the Red Hulk carrying Captain America's shield and stuff like that. But I think that reveal would have been quite fun and quite surprising for all of us if it hadn't been advertised. I understand why they did. It's a post-Endgame world. They're trying to get butts in seats and get people back to the theater. But I think that would have been a nice little surprise, the Red Hulk being the third act. So all in all, I think it's got all the ingredients of a great film. I think it's really fun. I think the characters are really interesting. The plot, I think, works. I think the biggest problem with it is it doesn't quite know what it wants to be. It's trying to be a Captain America film, but it's so clearly a Hulk sequel. Um, I love seeing Sam Wilson as Captain America. I talked about this in my original review. It's nice to see a Captain America who struggles. You know, Steve Rogers had the super soldier serum, and they address it in the film multiple times, so he could keep getting back up. But Sam Wilson's just a guy. Granted, he's got vibranium wings, and he, has the shield and stuff like that, but he doesn't have any superpowers. And maybe it's a bit far-fetched that he's able to, kind of stand toe-to-toe with the Red Hulk. But at the same time, it is nice to see him be a human amongst all these other gods. I think that's quite important moving forward, especially as we head towards Doomsday. It was also nice to see Captain America having fun, in the Steve Rogers ones, which, by the way, are perfect to me. I think the other problem this film has, it has to follow one of the strongest trilogies Marvel's put out. I love that Captain America trilogy. I think it's so perfect. But Steve Rogers was not known for having a lot of fun. And it was nice to see, on the way to the presidential dinner, Sam Wilson in the limo with Isaiah and Joaquin, and they're just making fun of each other and having a laugh. Like, that's an important ingredient. And I really like that in the charm and swagger that comes with Anthony Mackie as Captain America. So if you haven't seen it, give it a go. It's so worth your time. The biggest, as I said, the biggest stumbling block is trying to figure out what film it's trying to be, but it's still really entertaining. In terms of returning characters, we know Sam Wilson's coming back. We know Joaquin Torres is coming back. Stearns is in the post-credit sequence. I'd be surprised if he doesn't make an appearance somewhere, if it isn't at least referenced. He's clearly done some research into the multiverse, and he's aware of the others. He keeps referring to the others, which, of course, I assume he's talking about variants, which is quite interesting. And Red Hulk is currently in the Raft. There's a lot of villains in the Raft currently. It would be kind of fun if in Doomsday, to keep the heroes busy, Doctor Doom broke into the Raft and released a bunch of villains. I think that would be kind of fun. So maybe Red Hulk comes back, maybe he doesn't. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But that's Captain America Brand New Day. Next up is Season 1 of Daredevil Born Again.